but now is his scratch. So the Toreros will dress just 9 tonight to take on 17th ranked St. Mary's. Our understanding, Marcellus with an ice pack on his leg. He was hurt in warm-ups, so that removes the leading score from the Toreros and what Steve Lavin wants to do tonight. Time for our starting lineups, brought to you by Cal Hope. It's all kosher for the Gales. Aiden Mahaney, top freshman of the conference. Saxon and Bowen, great rebounders. Logan Johnson in all WCC preseason selection, who was amazing last week. And for St.
They know that St. Mary's wants to do a lot of pick and roll, on-ball screen action. How they defend that will dictate how they're going to be able to rebound and get out and run. They want to put some points up in the paint.
In the center circle, it was Mitchell Saxon jumping against Stephen Jamerson. And the Gales in red in the opening tip of the first possession here. As the fans start to file in. We both are San Diegans. We live here, so we know the traffic that everybody's fighting to try and get here to the Slim Jim. And St. Mary's very methodical. They'll look for the best shot. Aiden Mahaney thinks he has it. Misses off back iron. So one and done for the Gales to open up the proceedings tonight.
Torero's open up in his zone, and when you got some thin bodies, sometimes you just got to throw a different look at these guys, and that's what Steve Lavin chooses to do. Now they're going to mix things up tonight, though. You're going to see a lot of different defenses.
Deuce Turner gets it into the paint right there, and Sol defensively, and into Lynch it goes. And Lynch with a hook shot, a good start for San Diego.
Get the ball down low, and you know, Lynch, he's a guy that can kind of hold off. You got to do the early work if you're St. Mary's. Make sure that you're bodying Nick Lynch up. Turn and shoot.
Good job getting that one into the paint there. Lynch had a 12-point game earlier against Pacific. He's a Lehigh transfer. And in transition, Toreros trying to add on to the lead. Jace Townsend misses. So the Gales still looking for their first points here, 0 for 2. And they get a good-looking shot there. Kyle Bowen, and that goes down in the paint. Bowen's the senior from Australia.
A little extra pass there, like it. Elbow to baseline, right back to the elbow. Bowen take that shot from that, just inside that elbow, about a 16-foot jumper for him.
Deuce Turner takes the mid-range jumper and does it over Alex Dukas. Goes out of bounds, and it's going to stick with the Toreros. And due to injury, San Diego only suited up 5 scholarship players in their last game against Pacific, and as we mentioned, still wound up scoring 94 points in that loss. In that game, undermanned, they still shot 51% from the floor and 46% on threes. So this is not a gimme here for St. Mary's by any stretch of the imagination. There's a turnover off the errant pass by Deuce Turner. And Dukas turns it right back over. A steal by Wayne McKinney, the third sophomore guard from Coronado, and he's fouled on the drive.
Heck of a take there. McKinney just had eyes up, right? And that's something that they want to make sure that they do. I think the Toreros can get a lot of picks in the passing lane. I mean, they've got some pretty quick speed here. Here it is right here. I mean, that's just a tough live ball turnover. And then McKinney, he's just going to continue to press. And how good is he around the rim, draws the foul.
Aiden Mahaney, a freshman, with the foul. And here at the free throw line comes McKinney, almost 8 points per game.
Great year last year for McKinney too, Steve. You know, coming off of that all WCC freshman team. He played in 31 games. They had a lot of expectations for him this year, Steve Lavin did in his first year, because they know he was a pretty experienced player.
2 minutes in, early lead for the Toreros, who've lost 17 straight. St. Mary's Gales. Handy across the timeline from Keith Lindo. 10 times this season he's been the freshman of the year in the West Coast Conference. Kicks it to the corner. Dukas around the perimeter again, looking for the best possible shot they can get. Throw it to the middle of that zone, put it on the floor. Bowen goes to work here on Lynch. Johnson with 4 to shoot. Extra pass inside, and scoring the bucket off the windows, Kyle Bowen.
You know, that's just the way that Johnson has really expanded his game. I mean, he's just becoming a great playmaker. You know, getting it inside. He drew the defense, and that just left Bowen nicely. Nice pass there on that baseline.
A couple of assists on a couple of made baskets. Bowen has all 4 points for St. Mary's here in the early going. Almost 3 minutes in, we're knotted at 4 on the drive here. And too long, Wayne McKinney, and a rebound for the Gales, something they do better than almost anybody else on the West Coast. Plus 8.6 in rebounding in the country. That's top 4 national. Baseline, catch and shoot. And a miss there by Dukas. Fowles off to a 2-for-5 start from the floor. It's Jace Townsend over to Lynch. The Lehigh transfer lets it go. He had 800 points, 400 rebounds in his stay at Lehigh. So a good get here for Steve Lavin and his staff.
He had 11 first-half points against Pacific. It was a perfect 2 for 2 from downtown. He just missed that shot, but he's got the green light to take that three-point shot.
Nearly a turnover and then a foul. That's going against the Toreros here in the early going.
Well, you got to get as many guys touches like a guy, Nick Lynch, like I said, 11 first-half points against Pacific. Just the other night, guy out of Seattle, Washington. And you mentioned he came via Lehigh University experience, but anytime you get a good look like that, especially from three, you're coming off a pretty good game. You're feeling that stroke right.
Foul was on Steven Jamerson. That's his first. So it's going to send Mitchell Saxon here, 6'10 junior from Seattle, Washington, to the line. And the officiating crew here of DJ Nelson, Kelly Self, Jim Shipper have a discussion here about whether or not that was a shooting foul. I didn't think it was. I don't know if it was a foul on the floor. And because it wasn't the 17th foul, we're going to have it out of bounds here, awarded to the game. So a non-shooting foul. They got it right as Logan Johnson tries to trigger the inbound and does to Saxon. Hands off to Johnson, leaves it for Saxon underneath, and another foul here. See, was that the second on Jamerson, or are they going to get Lynch? They're going to get Nick Lynch.
That's just great recognition there by Johnson. He knows that they're seeing his zone from the Toreros, and they're giving him. You've got to attack the zone, right? You've got to try to get in the open spaces. As those guys kind of defend their zones, if you will, they're going to step out. Other players are going to be left open, and Johnson's such a good passer. Really expanding his game, drive and kick, drive and pass. That's something you'll see a lot more of from Logan Johnson, who's just been on an absolute tear as of recently in terms of scoring, Steve.
Here's Saxon, 7 double-doubles on the season. Kyle Bowen is the only other Gale with a double-double on the season. Saxon averages 12 points per game. Advantage to St. Mary's in the early going by a point. And the Gales don't score a lot. They don't give up a lot. But really good defense, top 4 nationally. Only allowing 58.7 points per game. That's in scoring defense. Getting deep in the paint. Turner got blocked there by Dukas.
And here come the Gales, and they want to run. A great defense there by Logan Johnson, one of the best defensive players on this team. He was denying Townsend a touch. If you can't get Townsend a touch, Toreros are going to be in trouble.
Mahaney, another entry pass inside, and the bucket scored by Mitchell Saxon.
Good work. They are really finding that option down low, and they're using the baseline to do it. Look at Logan Johnson just sticking with Townsend, number 1, just trying to deny him any touches. Almost a time space guarding him.
6 of the 7 Gales points are in the paint here. The 7th would be a free throw made, and here's a foul. And that will take us to a break. Not a whole lot of scoring in the early going. That's to be expected when St. Mary's is on the floor with that defense. Got an early 3-point lead. Well, the Toreros have just 9 available bodies. Right before we went on the air, we got word that Marcellus Erlington is out, and that is a big piece here. He got hurt in the warm-ups. That's a big piece to remove from their offense.
Steve Lavin making a switch there. We've got Deuce Turner, who is out. Dalkey is now in.
There's a drive. Swiping at it right there was Saxon. And he's going to get fouled. And if this is on Jamerson over the back, that's going to be his second. And so that will compound matters as well for Steve Lavin.
I like that take by Townsend. Just took it right at him pretty hard. I think Townsend's got to get some early touches. I like how they come right out of that timeout. They try to get Townsend a touch, and he attacks immediately.
Neil Benawal is in too, so you're really going down deep into the bench. Into walk-on territory here. The foul on Jamerson was the second, so he's got to come out. Mahaney to Johnson, uncontested 3 on its way, missed. Offensive rebound underneath, and the kick out. Dukas the 3, and it's good. Assist Mitchell Saxon.
Overboard 3, that's going to hurt you, and San Diego can ill afford to allow St. Mary's extra possessions, especially with shooters like that, catch and shoot.
First, second chance points by either side here tonight. That was a great drive. Good penetration. McKinney getting it into Lynch for the bucket.
Yeah, nice dime, too, to Nick Lynch. I mean, Nick Lynch was right there, made himself available. Heck of a pass.
Bowen out to Johnson. Quick trigger on the three. Dukas, who leads the WCC in three-point shooting at 43%. Big sample size, too. 70 of 163. Pull-up jumper on its way by Jace Townsend is rebounded by Dukas.
Just trying to create there, Townsend was. Using the big man as his screen just to try to get a screen for a split second. Doesn't need a whole lot of time. He's got a great jumper.
Great pass in the middle of that zone. Mahaney drives. And just so nice and fluid for the freshman. Right off the window for his first points of this one.
Coming off the bench, the starting lineup, entered the starting lineup after December 7th. They just could not keep Mahaney on the bench anymore. Now is an everyday starter for this team, and isn't he exciting?
Yep.
9-time freshman of the week. All WCC.
There by Capilindo High School in Moraga. I did his state championship game back when he was a freshman. His brother was there, and both Bennetts were there, and Randy Bennett was there at the Golden One Center, sitting right across, watching. And I thought, you know what, should I call my alma mater, Arizona, and tell them about this terrific freshman? I figured, you know what, Sean Miller probably knows.
Mahaney, who is 9th right now in the NCAA and freshman in points per game, and this is why I look at just a nice little take, and he kind of, shimmies a little bit just to kind of get rid of his defender, and then a nice aggressive take there. And he's a guy that's going to drive to the rim. He also has the ability to pull up.
Benewall was called for that foul, his first. Team foul number 4 against San Diego. Gales with a 6-point advantage. Looking to build on it here. Johnson back-to-back 30-point games into the middle of the zone again. A quick little trigger there by Kyle Bowen. And a whistle. We're going to get an offensive foul here on St. Mary's on the push.
St. Mary's doing a good job of trying to get Bowen back and forth into that elbow. You'll see that elbow action there by him because that's a great entry pass. Regardless of what you're seeing defensively, good little entry pass. He can turn, he can skip pass, he can actually look at the bucket.
That was on Mitchell Saxon, his first. And I'm not sure that's the guy you want shooting, but you'll take it right here. Neil Benewall, who averages 1 point a game, did play 11 minutes at Pacific, a freshman from Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania.
Went to the Phelps School. He averages about 6 minutes per game. Something tells me he's going to get some extra minutes here tonight. And hey, these are opportunities. Steve Lavin says, hey, number 15, we need you tonight. And Benewall does this. As you see Turner, he gets deep. And then the defense is there. He kicks it out to Benewall, who drains it confidently.
Jeremiah Nyarko with the foul as he gets some early action here for the Toreros. Substitution here. Kyle Bowen will come off, and we'll see Josh Johnson, the 6'8 freshman from Vegas for the first time, who had 7 points against San Diego back in December. In that game back in December between these two, Wales won at Moraga by 27. And oh, what a block there. Logan Johnson coming out of nowhere to deny Devin Dalkey.
Dalkey with a great pick. And again, St. Mary's turning the ball over in some vulnerable spots here. Dalkey almost loses it, but then watch this great hustle by Johnson. How about that? The hops for the 6'2", fifth-year guard out of Mountain View, California.
Looked like Superman there getting back with the denial over Johnson. And a shot up out of the hands of Deuce Turner. Deuce Turner is over to begin the proceedings. Missed every one of his 3 field goal attempts. 3-point advantage. Mahaney straight away 3, and just knocked right out of there by Saxon, but right to the Toreros in transition. Turner one-on-one against the freshman Mahaney. Back out it goes here for Dalkey, who misfires.
I'll tell you, that's a pretty good-looking shot there. I mean, you're going to give the Toreros that shot. They're going to take it. These shots just need to start falling for the Toreros, but that's a good look.
There's a travel on Josh Jefferson. And that's going to take us to a break. Hey, if the undermanned Toreros can pull this off today, they might make a Disney movie. Stayed in this building, 10 double-doubles.
This guy can just flat-out play. On January 19th, Williams became just the 5th active player in NCAA Division I men's basketball to compile 1,700 points and 1,000 career rebounds. So some big numbers by Williams. They sure could use them.
Yeah, great player for Dana Altman at Oregon. And despite shooting 3 of 14, which is a 21% clip, and having a bunch of walk-ons out there. San Diego with a 3 could tie it here. If that one had gone down out of the hands there of Dalkey, it would have been a 1-point game against the 17th ranked team in the nation. Little sluggish start here for the Gales. Again, they don't score a lot. Best work defensively. That was a good spin move. On the drive with a left hand. That went in and out. Augustus Marciulionis with a miss.
I think you just got to appreciate the patience that St. Mary's plays with at the offensive set, right? I mean, they go down to about 20, 21 seconds. They look for good shots. They're disciplined.
How about this little story right here in San Diego tonight? It's a 1-point game. Almost halfway home in the first half. Saxon, and Amerson was all over him, almost committed his 3rd foul, but Saxon, who torched San Diego for 20 and 10 rebounds in the first game, has more points here. Saxon's got 5 of St. Mary's 14. Yarko, the 3, missed it. Right in the middle of that zone, turnaround by Jefferson, no good. Rebounded on the offensive glass by Dukas. They get a fresh 20. And there's a kick ball. Will reset out of bounds here.
I like how they went right back to him. I mean, turn and look. He just missed that. He was just a bit long on that shot. I think you go right back to him with that kind of space. And, you know, a guy like Jefferson turns and looks and he sees, there's nobody really guarding me right now. Maybe puts the ball on the floor and attacks the rim, but he's got the big guy, Nick Lynch, there guarding the rim.
They pass the ball so well,
yeah,
don't
they do.
Yeah.
Like I said, this discipline. You know, you think about Princeton and Wisconsin and men's basketball, those guys that just used to do that. And it just gives Mahaney a chance to, you know, on the pass. They're so good on the pass, and it just opens so much up. And Mahaney's going to be ready every time.
Mahaney with 5 points. He scored 20 or more in 7 games this season. Career high 25 on not 1 but 2 occasions earlier this year.
40% of his shots come from 3, so you got to know scouting report and tendencies. He is going to pull the trigger from there.
Largest lead of the night for the Gales off the turnover and transition. They want more. At this slow tempo, too, they don't have a lot of assists. They're not among the WCC leaders in assists. And Marciulionis, just like his dad used to do, the NBA Hall of Famer for the Golden State Warriors, drops in, gets the friendly bounce on the 3, and now it's a 9-point advantage just like that for the Gales, who are on an 8-0 run over the last minute and a half.
Marciulionis, the guy that started the first 9 games, and now he's coming off the bench, giving these guys really good production.
Randy Bennett's only played 10 this season.
Well, you can't keep Mahaney on the bench, so he was on the bench at first, and then he comes in and starts, so Marciulionis becomes a great bench player. Mahaney becomes a great starter and great scorer.
Dalkey with a good drive on the baseline for the bucket there. 7-point game. Jefferson, pass inside, and Saxon right over the top with the bucket.
Good look, little high-low dump action there. Big guy gets the lob to the big guy.
Talking about their lack of assists, and all of a sudden they have 8 in this game on 9 made field goals. But again, they're down toward the bottom of the WCC when it comes to assists per game and scoring. It's one of those anomalies where they don't score a lot, but they're the best defensive in the West Coast Conference.
6'8" Jefferson. Nice little dump down low to Saxon.
Again, St. Mary's,
finishing around the rim.
If they start this Thursday night with 4 games remaining, they've got a 1-game lead over Gonzaga, who plays later tonight at LMU. And, of course, LMU's already beaten Gonzaga. There's a turnover for San Diego off the inbound. Just nothing going right. Really going for the Toreros.
Steve, you mentioned it. St. Mary's just really starting to get started. They outscore their opponent 72-59. They shoot about 46% to allow their opponents only 41%.
Isn't that crazy? So you're last in scoring in the WCC, first in defense, and you're still beating teams by an average of 13 points per night. You're top in scoring margin. Logan Johnson making an extra pass. They work it around the perimeter, 10 to shoot. There's Logan Johnson. He drives in, and he gets fouled. I think that's going to be on Devin Dalkey. I think LMU can do it over Gonzaga twice in one season. Cam Shelton and crew.
It can be done, but it's going to be hard because Gonzaga not wanting to lose twice. I mean, Gonzaga's so well coached, and they know what's at stake here.
That's at 8 o'clock. How about this? Since BYU joined the WCC, LMU, the first team to beat the Cougars, Gonzaga, and St. Mary's in the same season. Now can they do it on the back nine here, the second turn, if you will.
And remember, St. Mary's will finish on February 21st at Gonzaga.
Logan Johnson only has 1 point. He's coming off a career high 34 at Portland on Saturday. Back-to-back games with 30 or more. He had 65 points in 2 games against LMU and Portland. Can he do it again? Yes! Neil Benawal channeling his inner Steph Curry in this one. He's got a couple of triples, and the Toreros are hanging around.
I mean, he comes into this game shooting 16% from downtown. He's taken 19 shots coming in from that range. Now he's 2 for 2.
That's awesome. And St. Mary's turns it over. For the Gales, that's their 4th turnover here in this first half. Both teams have actually protected the ball rather well here in the early going.
The donkey goes down. Watch this. He just loses his footing here. And Benawal, he just has no conscience. He says, hey, if I get the ball, I get a little window, I'm shooting the ball. I'm going to help my team. I like it.
Gliding in and scoring the bucket. Wayne McKinney, the 3rd.
Hard take, aggressive take. Last 4 games, McKinney shooting really well. 15 to 32, just under 50%.
5-point game, good handoff up high by Saxon on the drive, and that is super freshman Aiden Mahaney. 15 points a game, 10th leading scorer in the WCC, and shooting 45%, 9th best clip. Just getting enough separation there for a bucket is McKinney as he starts to take over here in the Slim Jim.
San Diego making a little run, kind of closing the gap here, only down by 5.
Told you they could score. They score 79 a night, but they allow 80. That's the Achilles heel. Only Gonzaga scores more this season for a WCC team. Great stick-to-itness there by Augustus Marshallonis. His presence has been felt in the early going.
And you're right. His presence has been felt playmaking, attacking. I mean, he's very, very good at attacking the bucket.
Dad was an NBA Hall of Famer. Didn't play all that long in the NBA, but it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. So his dad had a lot of great international time. Russia and Lithuania. Oh, will he do it again? Nope, that time the heat check.
No question, Marshallonis considered one of the best international players of all time.
Gold medals, all sorts of cup victories. 7-point advantage here for St. Mary's. Inside of 5 minutes to go in the first half. Logan Johnson. Career started at Cincinnati, but year number 4 in Moraga. A takeaway, a turnover. McKinney. And unleashing it, Jace Townsend in and out. Townsend had a season-high 34 last game against Pacific. He made 7 threes in that game. Pretty reliable 41% on threes.
Yeah, tough sledding tonight for Townsend, but I think he just has to keep shooting. He's 0 for 5 from field goal, 0 for 3 from downtown. And St. Mary's they're just making shots now.
How about Marshallonis with 8? He's made a couple of threes, and there he got Wayne McKinney on roller skates. 10-point advantage, first double-digit lead of the night for St. Mary's. Finally finding their stride. Posting up is Townsend, and now make it 0 for 6 in the first half for Townsend. Saxon out to a wide open Marshallonis. 11 for Augustus Marshallonis.
Outside in, inside out, extra passing. Marshallonis got the hot hand. Back-to-back.
Played on the basketball team there, and he's still got a cohort of guys that live down in San Diego that always come up to a game a year, and he'll host them usually during the month of December, and then they're here when he comes to Jenny Craig Pavilion.
What a job he's done for his St. Mary's program. 6th best win percentage of any Division I team in the nation over the last 7+ years.
Dominic Muncy in, wearing number 32 for San Diego and white. Rising up, Deuce Turner, and thought he got fouled. Logan Johnson got a piece of it. Johnson's already got a block in this game, and a spectacular one. 3 minutes to go. Here's Saxon on the drive. Saxon over Lynch.
Big man putting the ball on the floor. Good ball control and double pump finish there off the glass. Nice left hand.
Saxon has 9 on 4 of 4 shooting. Lynch is going to try a 3 over the big man Saxon. Now it's starting to slip away from San Diego here. Steven Jamerson will come back in when play is dead for Steve Lavin's crew.
He was mostly out just because he had 2 personal fouls and a much shorter lineup on the floor without Jamerson.
Will he be 5 for 5? Finally a miss there by Saxon. And covering it up, San Diego. And we got a whistle. The possession arrow pointing toward the Toreros. Lynch will leave along with Evan Dahlke. It'll be San Diego basketball. Steve Lavin wants an explanation now from the officials across from us. They got Bowen with the foul. It's going to be his second. 2:25 and counting to go here in the first half. After tonight, just 3 to go in the WCC before the tournament. Dale's looking to dethrone Gonzaga and a foul in the paint.
And Steve, you're right. I mean, these guys are thinking first place. I mean, they're taking it game by game. They're not looking ahead to February 21st. Gonzaga, they're not looking ahead to the WCC tournament. These guys are one game at a time, locked in, scouting report, but they don't want to share a piece of the title. They want to hold it outright. The last time they shared a piece of that title in the regular season was in 2015, 2016. Last time they won it outright, 2011, 2012.
Of course, both programs safely in the NCAA tournament. For St. Mary's, their program best number 6 now in the net rankings.
Lenardi having a 6th seed. Yep.
Take that.
Actually, 5th seed the other day. I think they bumped up to the, Lenardi had him at the 6th seed just the other day. Of course, it changes.
Got that finale at the Kennel to end the season. That's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday the 25th. Already knocked off Gonzaga earlier this month. A well-played game down in Moraga.
Think about the storied program of this. St. Mary's has finished tied for 2nd or higher in WCC in 13 of the last 15 seasons. And here are your net rankings, Steve. There's St. Mary's with that net rank at 6. Gonzaga at 12th. Santa Clara 91. BYU 92. So these 5 teams all in the top 100, but impressively, St. Mary's and Gonzaga.
Jamerson just got whistled for the foul here. That's his 3rd, which will send Mitchell Saxon to the line. And Saxon makes the free throw, so he joins Augustus Marciulionis in double figures. Right here he can catch Marciulionis, both with 11 points apiece if he sinks this free throw. And he does so. 12-0 run now for the St. Mary's Gales over the last 4 minutes. Made 4 of their last 5, and for San Diego, their drought, they've missed their last 6 shots. They haven't scored in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's Lynch. He was working out early, too, as if he wasn't going to play. One of those, like how you work out a red shirt early. He was out burning a lot of calories in the early going.
He was the first one in the gym this afternoon at shoot-around.
McKinney missed the shot. There's a blocking foul on the other end. And they're going to wind up getting McKinney as he impeded the progress of Logan Johnson. That's the first on McKinney.
Watch explosive by Logan Johnson. Look at this. His separation of his legs and just going up. I mean, that's just huge right there. Nice take. That is your Lou Henson watch list player, averaging 20 points in the last 5 games. He's just so impressive, Steve. This guy, he loves to score, Logan Johnson, but he is one of the best defenders. In fact, probably the best on-ball defender that St. Mary's has.
We already saw it with a huge block earlier.
Lefty combo guard, plays off of 2 feet really well. You really have to stay low with Logan Johnson to really be able to contain him. And so many teams just can't contain him. He just has a gift of being able to find a way to score.
Humbling game. He had, 65 total points as Benowall has that one go in and out. Last week in 2 games, one that they lost last Thursday, their first conference game. They were on the road at LMU. But now he's got 3 points in the first half and all 3 from the free throw line. But again, does it on the defensive end, contributing, no doubt. Goes up to get that one to try and save it, and does to Mahaney. And a double dribble on Aiden Mahaney. We're going to get our first look at Harry Wessels coming in. 7'1" freshman from Australia. Almost 3 points a game, 2 rebounds. All of a sudden, a 19-point advantage here for 17th ranked St. Mary's. Now they're shooting 54%, holding the Toreros to 28% from the floor. 5 made threes also helping out for the St. Mary's Gales. Coming out to get it, Benawal. Benawal looks like the youngest guy in the building by 10 years over anybody, doesn't he? Deuce Turner, step back 3 with 3 to go on the shot clock, missed off the front of the rim. Rebound by Josh Jefferson. And launching it, will count if it goes, but it comes up short. And that is the end of the first half. And St. Mary's closes the first half on a 14-0 run over the final 5:35. They got 11 apiece from Marshallonis from your rotation and will be on the floor here and then try and beat the team with a net ranking of 6. Good luck.
Yeah, the scoring production, the rebounding production that you're going to get from those guys. I mean, you get 35 good minutes out of Earlington, a lot of good minutes out of those other guys. You're losing and missing your veteran players, your experienced players that have really, been there.
Unlikely hero tonight for San Diego. Neil Benawal with 6, along with McKinney. They're the leading scorers with 6 apiece. And for St. Mary's in the first half, Mitchell Saxon and Augustus Marshallonis with 11 apiece. And there is Jamerson slammed it home for the first points of the second half. The 6'10" sophomore from Crespi High School up in the LA area.
Yeah, well, credit the Toreros for sticking with it. The pick and pop didn't necessarily happen for Nick Lynch at first, but they stuck with it. And then they attacked the rim, and they got the ball on that extra pass to Jamerson for the dunk.
Lucas has struggled from the outside. He's made 1 of 5 shots from beyond the perimeter. He's 1 of 6 in the game. Dribbling through traffic there was Turner. It goes out now to Townsend, and Townsend misfires. Rebound by Saxon again. 8 rebounds a game, is second in the WCC behind San Diego's Eric Williams Jr., who's on the bench here for the 4th straight game with an injury.
We talk about the loss of point production, and then you also have Townsend, who is 0 for 7, and he gives you 16 points a game. He's just not making his shots. He's getting the looks, but they're just not falling.
He's the 8th leading scorer in the WCC at almost 16 a game, 41% on threes. The Denver transfer wears number 1 in white. Maybe they have a puncher's chance if they can get him going in the second half. Free throw line jumpers a break out of the hands of McKinney with 6 first half points.
I like how Townsend comes out. He was 0 for 6. He shot. He missed. He's a guy that's going to keep shooting, and he has to. I mean, shooters got to shoot.
Deep 3, Aiden Mahaney. That's an air ball. Boy, Mahaney's not having the typical night that we're used to seeing. He's going to hear it from the fans behind us. The freshman only has 7 points in the early going. Got a full 20 minutes there in that first half.
I'll tell you who is this Marshallonis at 3 for 3 from downtown. 4 of 6 guy was absolutely hot.
Unlikely heroes, right? He comes in averaging almost 6 points a game. He's almost doubled it here tonight. Lynch. The 3 on the way is gone. And maybe that will help kickstart the San Diego Toreros in the second half as they pull within 14.
Sometimes that pick and pop gets activated, right? Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, and he can just step out, whether it's pick and pop or whether he flares, depending on what they're running.
5-0 start for the Toreros in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half. From the elbow, left open, uncontested. Kyle Bowen with a jumper. Averages 5.5 points per game. Who's 7.7 rebounds a game, 5th in the WCC.
He's just been so good at that elbow spot right there. They're giving him that 16-foot jumper. He's a guy that will shoot 70% of his shots in conference or threes, but he doesn't need to step out in this game. He's got some other 3-point shots. He's stepping in.
3 is gone. Deuce Turner, with all the injuries, the former JUCO All-American, back in the lineup again. 4th consecutive start.
Not surprised. This guy set a record at South Plains College for the most points in a game of 50, and 13 three-pointers in that game.
I read that too. That was remarkable.
Guy knows how to shoot the three.
In transition, here's a deep three off the front of the rim, missed by Turner. Went to the well one too many times, but certainly not shy about jacking up shots here.
He actually started at South Plains College in Texas. Then he went to Bucknell. Now he's here at University of San Diego.
Good pass. Saxon's going to get an assist as he finds a streaking Bowen. More points in the paint there. The Gales 22-12 advantage over the Toreros. Points in the paint. And left open. Little floater won't go. The tap in though. Sweetie says tap, tap, tap in. From Jamerson.
I'll tell you, Jamerson, he's hanging around the rim. He just got that offensive tip on that miss by Townsend. He got the dunk from a good pass. But man, St. Mary's, Steve, they just come down the other way and they can punish you with that shot. Big three by Dukas.
Yep, all that work. And then on the defensive end, you leave.
Ticket Smarter. Visit ticketsmarter.com today. And by Cal Hope. Visit calhope.org today for free mental health help.
Lovely mid-February here in San Diego. Toreros have it here. And they're going to wind up turning it over. Here's Townsend. Turnover, just the fourth of the game for the San Diego Toreros, who are in that zone now. And left open is Mahaney. He airballed the last one. He won't here. He buries the three. Mahaney is in double figures at 10.
Such a confident three-point shooter as well. You know, he spaces the floor well. He knows where he's going to get that pass and plays well off the 2 feet.
Townsend fouled on the drive. They're going to get a blocking foul here on Logan Johnson. And that's going to take us right back to a break.
Thanks to the WCC.
Of course, the last year for BYU in the WCC before they move out of the conference. Foul on Logan Johnson. Before we went to the break, it's going to send James Townsend here from Dallas, Texas, to the free throw line. He misses the first. Toreros are he's pretty reliable free throw shooting team, though. You crunch the numbers. They actually lead the conference at 77%. And 1 of 2 made by James Townsend.
Townsend comes in as an 87% free throw shooter. And just 1 point on the game. You would have told me that Townsend would have had 1 point. We played 25 minutes of basketball. I would have said, no way.
He's 0 for 8 shooting from the floor here. Down to the low post. And that's Mayarko there trying to guard deep. Mitchell Saxon turns and scores points 12 and 11.
Yeah, Saxon at 6'10". Just great body, though.
Closing in on potentially his 8th double-double of the season. And he has 7 to lead the Gales, surprisingly. They're a 22-win team, ranked 17th, and only one other guy, Kyle Bowen, this year has a double-double. There's Townsend. Kick to the corner. Elevating for the three there is Dalkey. Now a 20-point advantage, biggest of the night for the Gales.
Saxon, for me, is a guy that wins the foot fight in the paint. You know, he just has his feet right. He knows what angles are coming, where defenses are positioned, and he just has a knack for being able to get around and great at the rim. Good finisher is Saxon.
Mayarko with a foul. He's a Sierra Canyon kid. He wasn't going to let the blow by. Non-shooting foul.
Haven't seen a whole lot of pick and roll by Saxon tonight. He's really good. He's a great guy at ducking in, and he rolls to the bucket hard. But St. Mary's, the way that they're seeing the Toreros defend them, they've been real good at penetrating inside that zone and shooting and busting zones like Mahaney.
Those are more second chance points on the three that are off the offensive rebound. Mahaney has 13 points. Second chance points now favor St. Mary's 11-2.
He's 3 of 6, and his career high for three-pointers made is 5. He's done that twice, most recently January 14th against San Francisco.
Townsend with a jumper just left of the lane. A lot of work to get that open shot.
It'd be good to see to get him going, though.
Yep, first made field goal in 9 attempts. Back to the rebounding for the Gales. It's been something else. 11.5 offensive rebounds a game. And you talk about rebounding overall. As a team, they rebound 78%, almost 79% of their opponents' misses. I mean, that's an incredible number. There's Lynch with a bucket. And I heard, we're both tied to San Diego State, right? You work over there, and I've got a daughter that goes there and did games for many years. I always remember Coach Fisher always saying, as we got another offensive rebound, if you can out-rebound half of the misses by your opponents, you're in good shape. You're talking about almost 80%. Here's Dukas, wing right three, no good, and another offensive board. My goodness.
Johnson calling for a screen, doesn't use it. Oh, nice job by Bowen to replace where he came from.
Dukas steps into a mid-range jumper and hits it on the baseline and then stares down everybody in the expensive seats right to the right of us.
If you're going to defend St. Mary's, you really have to stay defensive-minded through the entirety of the play, because they're making the extra pass, then they'll make that extra pass, and just when you think they're going to pull up a shot, you know, Bowen turns, and you think he's going to turn and take that 14-footer, and then he kicks it out for a three.
Andy Bennett out there still barking at his troops right here. He's out of the coach's box. 4 to shoot. It's in the hands of Townsend. Townsend got trapped. Townsend, did he get it off in time? They said no. Shot clock violation. And dead ball turnover here against San Diego. Is their 5th of the night. There you look at Steve Lavin in year number 1, UCLA. Wonderful run he had there for the Bruins in Westwood, and then on to St. John's.
Great career for Steve Lavin. Just what a treat to be able to have him right here in our backyard, Steve.
One of the best analysts, too, on television. Kind of surprised he stepped away from that, stepping into the jumper. Josh Jefferson there.
I think that love of basketball was just knocking on his door again. And, you know, who can blame him for what he did at UCLA and St. John? And I think a lot of people wanted to see Steve Lavin coach again and maybe thought it wasn't going to happen, but he knew it. Great opportunity here at San Diego to build something. They absolutely love him, and they're, you know, he's going to have a lot of time, and he's going to have a chance to do what he needs to do and recruit.
And he said it was just the perfect opportunity. When I talked to him about a month ago, prior to the BYU game. Got a break in the action. 11:31 to go. St. Mary's starting to pull away from Steve Lavin, and then was a late scratch. And for Earlington, 20 or more points scored in 7 of his last 8 games. He's had 3 games of 30 or more points, all WCC conference games, and so that's a big piece to have out.
And, you know, he gets you to the free throw line, right? I mean, he's gonna take you to the free throw line. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, in a game like this, I was expecting him to be Kelly Leak from the Bad News Bears, right, where Mr. Buttermaker just says, grab every rebound, score every basket, do everything tonight.
Well, the stat sheet really tells it, too. I mean, St. Mary's out-rebounding USD 31-16, and a guy like Eric Williams, you know, he's going to grab you double-digit rebounds every game. He had 14 rebounds on December 20th, which was a season high against UC Riverside, and the guy can flat-out board, but not available.
There's our guy, Benowall. How about that? They might check that one. They've counted it now as a 3. Comes with 10:54 to go. Let's see right here. I think he got it off from down the line. I can't really see his feet there. Usually on plays like that, they'll go back and check it in the break. They would check it in the under 8 timeout. Toreros have the ball back, down 20 after the made 3. Benowall's made 3 in this game. Lynch looking back door for Benowall. Now to the cutting Townsend. Townsend lets it fly. No, but the tap in again. And that's Steven Jamerson with another tap in. Jamerson's a perfect 2 for 2. They've all been tap-ins. He's got 4 points to go along with 3 rebounds. Good pass underneath, and Saxon gets the assist from Dukas. Saxon having himself a game here. He's 1 rebound away from his 8th double-double of the season. And a foul on the other end. They're going to get a reach in on Augustus Marcialonis. Saxon 15 points, 9 rebounds. And Dukas will go to the St. Mary's Gales bench.
I think Neil Benowall came in to shoot around today, and he was getting his shots up. Good for him. He's got that career high going, 9 points. His career high is 5 on the season versus San Diego Christian. You mentioned it back in November, Steve.
Make it hard for the coach to take you out, right? McKinney. And a reaching foul right there as McKinney was dribbling behind his back, and they get Marcialonis here for his 2nd foul in about 10 seconds. 2:03 to go in regulation. 20-point advantage. Gales been up by as many as 23. It was tight in the early going. St. Mary's wasn't making shots. San Diego was hanging around. Not the case late, though. St. Mary's had a 19-point lead at half, extended it out to 23. Currently at 20. Here's Townsend, who's made 1 of 10 from the floor. Nearly turned it over, 2 to shoot. Townsend lets it fly and misses. But Benewall's got the offensive rebound. Gets it into Lynch, and Lynch is fouled there by Mitchell Saxon.
Yeah, took a heck of an effort there by Lynch. Lynch just went and hit the deck hard on that last play, which is why Townsend had to throw up that shot with about 2 seconds left. And then Lynch hustling, going after it. Steve Lavin up off his feet, clapping for his guys, knows how difficult this situation is, and his guys giving him everything they can, playing tough, lots of minutes.
There's the Lehigh transfer, Nick Lynch, with 12 points last time out against Pacific. He's at the free throw line here. The fans' March Madness is right around the corner, including this year's University Credit Union WCC basketball tournament from Las Vegas. Visit WCCSports.com for matchups, brackets, and everything you need to know for this year's tournament. A lot of fun will be had here in Las Vegas.
St. Mary's thinking, all right, we're going to get that triple bye. They'll advance. They get that top 2 seed, first seed or second seed. They go right to the semifinals. Yep.
I think it was 2019 the last time they won the tournament. They lost in the finals last year to Gonzaga at Orleans Arena. Taking the shot clock down under 10. And that is Jefferson who misses, comes up short. McKinney against Marshallonis, too hard. Ball on the deck. And we're going to have a tie-up here with the possession arrow pointing towards St. Mary's. And Randy Bennett's going to sneak Kyle Bowen back into the game.
St. Mary's on the ball.
Joshua Jefferson, the freshman from Vegas, leaves. And he's still coaching his heart out here with 8:59 to go.
Yeah, he's never going to stop. Nope. Not Randy Bennett.
Next up will be BYU on Saturday in Moraga. Another big game, although BYU certainly not playing up to expectations this season. Most thought they'd finish third. Sitting there at 6th, as we talked about.
Interesting stretch, too, for St. Mary's. Down here in the L.A. area, Loyola Marymount. Then up to Portland, back down here to San Diego. Then up to Utah, or back home for BYU.
Tough travel.
Yeah.
Here you think BYU's got the charter. Gonzaga has the charter. I'm not sure what the Gales' travel plans are. And Lynch unleashes a 3. Hey, Lynch is the first in double figures for the Toreros. He's having himself a night.
He's coming off of that game at Pacific where he went a perfect 2 for 2 from 3. But he's a guy that really worked on and improved his three-point shot last year, carrying that over to this year.
Torero's leading scorer at 13 now on 5 of 7 shooting. 26 minutes. Deep 3. Marshallonis bricked it. Ball loose and picked up there by Townsend. 16-point advantage for St. Mary's. The under 8 timeout is coming here on the next dead ball. Townsend lost it. Benewall. That's the guy you want. Benewall, great little pass. Extra pass made inside to Lynch. And he scores the bucket for points 14 and 15. And a bit of a run here for San Diego. A 6-0 run over the last 2:09. Meantime, St. Mary's hasn't scored in 3 minutes.
Yeah, San Diego's been real good off that extra pass. They are sharing the ball. They're finding their big guys close to the basket. High percentage shot. Nick Lynch having himself a game.
And the Toreros score 79 tonight. And there's a foul going up with Saxon. And he's going to get hammered there by Jamerson. And that's going to take us to a break. Saxon will be at the line when we come back for 2. St. Mary's University Credit Union WCC tournament. Saxon at the line. That was on Lynch before he went to break. Saxon is 1 rebound away from his 8th double-double of the season. Makes that free throw. He's got 16 now to lead all scorers in this game. That one rolls in 17 points for Saxon. 6 of 7 from the floor, 5 of 6 from free throw line.
You really got to be good at defending around the rim, do the early work if you're going against a guy like Saxon. That looked like a take there. Outside, Saxon tried to get the block, picked up the foul. Looks like they're going to get it.
Benewall wants to add to his mixtape here, right? He's not done enough work outside. Take it to the hoop. And fouls on Saxon, who, by the way, picks up his 3rd personal foul. He also has 4 assists in the game.
He's just so efficient around that rim. So, you know, he's just a tough guy to guard. And he has a lot of different moves. He can go up and under.
I'm really excited to see this team in the NCAA tournament. They're a second weekend team, I'll guarantee you that. And then, you know, you look at what St. Peter's did last year, right? You've got to figure St. Mary's is one of those runs. And about 7 minutes to go. Uncontested 3 in the corner. And not getting the friendly bounce there is Bowen. It's a 14-point game. Crazier things have happened.
I was wondering how long it might be before Bowen stepped out to that three-point line and took one of his shots. One of his many shots. A guy that takes a lot of threes in conference.
Dalkey drives in, and Dalkey gets the bucket. It's a 12-point game here with just over 6 minutes to go.
The thing about clock management with St. Mary's, right? They're so disciplined, they're so patient. So when you get down as far as San Diego was, it's tough to make a comeback against a big lead because, you know, they already come in, they're already patient.
You might only get like 7 more possessions the rest of the game. You got to be perfect on all of them. 1 to shoot and a takeaway for San Diego. That's going to be a shot clock violation, which actually helps St. Mary's, right? Because now they can set up their defense rather than that being a live ball turnover, which it looked like it was going to be.
Especially with, you know, Dalkey, who wants to run. He's a guy that can lead you in transition. He can score pretty quick. Just more ticks off the clock, too, as they walk the ball up the floor.
10 turnovers tonight for the Gales. Points on turnovers. St. Mary's leading 9-6 in that category. That was Benewall with a long 3.
Quick shot, may have forced that one a little bit, maybe trying to press a little bit, feeling pretty good about his game tonight. I don't blame him.
I feel like he really needed that one there. Mahaney maybe trying to deliver the knockout punch, blicked it, and in transition, here comes Dalkey. He'll wait for the troops. Now dribbling through traffic, Dalkey, and he got it blocked big time by Saxon. Add that to the resume, too. Saved 2 points right there.
Just the length of Saxon alone, his wingspan, his reach, his ability. Even if he gets by you, he can come from behind and swat that. I like the take by Dalkey.
So you get now your 2 scorers back in, Townsend and McKinney, so you can maybe make a run right here. This is McKinney. 6 first-half points. Finds his shot there too hard. And there's the double-double by Saxon. His 8th of the season. So 17 and 10 with 4 assists and a block in 33 minutes for the junior from Seattle, Washington. Here's Logan Johnson. Logan Johnson has not made a field goal. He's only taken 1 all game. His significant contribution certainly has been on the defensive end. He passed on the open shot for an even better look there, and a miss from 3 for Bowen.
I think his passes underneath the basket for some easy buckets, easy 2-pointers, has also been really good.
Lynch, extra pass and a lay-in there. Dalkey made the extra pass to the streaking Jamerson, and all of a sudden, it's a 10-point game.
I'll tell you, I think the Torero coaching staff is going to create a highlight reel with that extra pass, especially around the basket. They've been good, quite effective for them tonight.
This group from San Diego, I don't even know what to call them, but they're on a 17-4 run. Gritty, I guess, and that's going to be basket interference. They're going to wave that off. Mitchell Saxon doesn't agree, but we're going to go to the break here with San Diego.
Commitment to defense, something that they focused on at shoot-around today.
I don't know if you would describe it as adversity just yet, but they had a lot of adversity at LMU last Thursday down here in Southern California. And might be facing it here, especially if San Diego makes a 3-point bucket here. Here's Dalkey driving in. Still plenty of time to shoot. Townsend against Johnson, and he sticks the jumper over one of the best defenders in the conference. It's down to a single-digit lead for the Gales.
That's why a shooter has to keep shooting. He had missed all night, but that could be a big bucket for some kind of a turnaround. If they can get another defensive stop here, and they do.
Well, will the 19-4 run continue here? 8-point game. This place is going to go nuts here in a moment if they make a bucket. Here's Townsend. Townsend, a little head fake. Townsend gets the screen, drives in, shuffles it off to Lynch. Lynch had it blocked by Saxon, but then he's going to get called for a foul. And he's going to go to the line here. So Saxon didn't get ball like I thought. He got a little piece of the arm. That's the fourth on Saxon, who has 17 and 10.
Watch Townsend on this one, a little fadeaway shot there, beautifully done. Big bucket for him.
Lynch calmly sticks the first free throw. What are we witnessing here? At the 11:55 mark, St. Mary's led by 23 at 58-35. It's now 62-56. It's a two-possession game, Tammy.
San Diego on a 10-0 run in that last 4-minute segment.
All those people that flipped over the Wheel of Fortune are now coming back going, what? 6-point game. Toronto's into the zone. Johnson wants to make his first field goal. He misses. It might be a one-possession game here shortly. Here's Townsend. Again, the three. Townsend missed it. Jamerson, the offensive rebound. They want it more now. Lynch to cut the lead in half. And it's rebounded by Dukas.
Well contested on that shot by Lynch. He was far out. He got a good look, but nicely contested. Probably the reason why he was short on that shot.
Had that gone down, it would have been a 3-point game.
This place would have gone nuts.
St. Mary's has missed their last 8 shots. Their scoring drought now over 5 minutes. Again, no Williams, no Jawara, no Erlington. Here's Bowen. Bowen drives, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. He drives right into the body of Jamerson. A lot of contact, no foul called. And Randy Bennett, at this point, probably can't believe what he's seeing.
Good move by Bowen, but then Jamerson comes over. He's help side. He knows it. Gets his hand on it for the block. No foul called. You're right, Steve. Here we go the other way. 2-possession game.
St. Mary's hasn't scored in 5-16. Dalkey. Townsend being harassed by Johnson.
Dangerous.
Screen comes high from Jamerson. Townsend lost the handle on it, finds a shot, puts it up, can't get it to go. And last touch by Johnson. They're going to restart the shot clock at 20. It'll be Torero basketball, and we're going to have a timeout on the floor here with 1:26 to go.
But you don't need it. I mean, you got Nick Lynch, who's been real good around the bucket. You got a baseline out of bounds play right here.
Had time to set it up with a review. They just get it in to Townsend, who's 2 of 14 shooting. Throws that one up, in and out. He's 2 of 15. Now they got a D up here in the final 1:14.
Townsend just unfortunate, unlucky. He's had 2 off the rim. Great pull out there. Good read there by Saxon.
Can St. Mary's win this thing without scoring in the final 6.5 minutes? They might go the last 7 minutes of the game not scoring a point and still win. We're inside a minute to go. 8 to go on the shot clock. Mahaney to Johnson. Pass corner. Rising up. 3 and no. And offensive rebound off the missed 3 by Dukas. It's Bowen with the offensive board, and St. Mary's calls the timeout. 45.9 to go, and a fresh 20-second shot
well,
clock.
Dukas was going up for the shot, and if you were to look over at Bowen,
just to the right of the basket. In the Toreros, maybe can go spend 5 seconds trying to get a steal here, and then we'll have to foul. The scoring drought for St. Mary's is 6:20. Where would they be without their offensive rebounds here? And a quick foul. Benawal is going to foul Kyle Bowen here. So we're going to have the ball inbounded again because the Toreros have fouls to give. That was only their third foul of the second half. So they're going to have to do this 4 more times to get the Gales to the line. And they almost got the steal. That's going to stick with St. Mary's. So some time comes off the clock, but you're still going to have to foul 4 more times. That's one of those times where you don't benefit from not fouling, right?
And I would expect, too, that at some
Lynch to cut the lead in half. And again, St. Mary's hasn't scored in the final 6:22 and counting.
Jamerson at 6'10", guarding the inbound on the sideline, trying to jump up and down and make it hard. Oh, a great fake.
That quick foul, only 0.3 of a second come off the clock. However, that's only team foul number 4 as McKinney gets called for the foul. Looking at personal fouls, nobody has any more than 3, with the exception of Jamerson for San Diego. So anybody can foul here and be okay. And they're going to try and rip it away from Logan Johnson. And then, and they got the turnover. Wow, they trapped him up high. Looked like they were going for the foul, and Logan Johnson turns it over. Wow.
There's no question that St. Mary's was just waiting for San Diego to foul. They did not anticipate that their pressure was coming and that they were going to try to turn them over. Johnson is frustrated.
13th turnover of the night for St. Mary's. They're usually pretty good at protecting the basketball, only turn it over shade under 11 times a game. And so here we go. And a drive here. McKinney with a left hand.
Quick 2. Not a lot of time off the clock. A quick 2. You didn't need a 3. Smart move. Good pick by Lynch.
Here comes the press. It's a 4-point game, and Lynch nearly with the steal. He punched that one away from Saxon. It's going to be St. Mary's ball. Difference between the shot clock and the game clock is 2 seconds. 2-possession game, and I think they're going to go for a quick foul here. This thing got interesting here. And they're going to put Dukas back in and run Kyle Bowen far across. So they're going to let Dukas do the inbounds. Again, Jamerson with the length in front of him. And we got a foul before any time comes off the clock. That's a smart move there. So that becomes Torero foul number 5, correct? So they still have to do this 2 more times.
2 more times. Tell you, the Toreros playing like they can do something special here tonight.
Into the backcourt. Johnson, they'll try and trap him again. Oh, he almost lost it again. You got to be kidding me. He does lose it. And it's going to be St. Mary's ball. Back there, they say somehow it went off of San Diego. Wow, I thought he was going to turn that one over one more time.
Yeah, they're just bringing the pressure. They'll watch the heat here. Great hands. Townsend gets all over it. They try to trap. That's Jamerson. Jamerson was guarding the inbounder. Look at the hustle by Jamerson covering the hardwood floor. He caused that turnover. Well, it wasn't a turnover.
Yeah.
Great effort there.
I say Jamerson somehow got it and then stepped out of bounds. So they almost had the takeaway. 19.3 to go. 17 on the game clock. Now the officials are going to start talking about this thing here. This is wild. Again, 6 minutes and 46 seconds without a point for St. Mary's.
Still have to foul twice. But the question is, 19 seconds. Torero's thinking quick steal, and they just don't have time. There has to be a foul here.
Last field goal came with 10:20 to go. Did they get the turnover? They did! Oh, you gotta be kidding me! Unable to handle it was Augustus Marshallonis. Now it's still a 2-possession game, but San Diego 8 second-half turnovers for St. Mary's. Now the fans inside the Slim Jim got to get up here and help their team will them to victory. Again, doing this without Eric Williams Jr., without Marcellus Earlington, without Sigu Jawara.
You're going to get a ball screen here from Nick Lynch, no doubt. There's the screen.
Yep, Lynch is open. Got it. They got to hurry inside of 10 seconds to go. This is McKinney driving, McKinney in, and McKinney is fouled. And now with 4.2 to go, can go to the free throw line for 2.
They can. They took a lot of time off the clock. I think they may go back and put some time. Will they go back and put some time on the clock? I think that clock may run. They're not going to do it.
So here's McKinney with 8 points.
I thought a couple ticks, maybe a tick came off after the whistle was blown.
We're going to keep it at 4.2, and McKinney, that's a big miss. The line tonight, San Diego, which is their 3rd miss, they're 8 of 11. St. Mary's has not scored in the final 7:01. Still may get out of here with their 12th West Coast Conference win, their 23rd win of the year.
St. Mary's with 1 timeout, San Diego with 2.
All right, now it's a 1-possession game. Timeout, San Diego. So they spend it here. Again, you've got to foul. 1-possession game, 62-59 again. The possession arrow towards San Diego. Should we have a tie-up? They have to foul at least 2 more times to get St. Mary's to the line. The inbound will be Bowman, and there's the foul on Dukas. So that's team foul number 6, and St. Mary's going to have to inbound it again. And Dukas thought it was shots. He threw it all the way down to the official on the other end and saying, not so fast, you got to inbound it again. And the second team off the clock. Now the next one will put them at the line, and you figure if they can get a foul here and just take a second off, you got a chance. Dukas now will inbound. Jamerson again, a lot of length here.
Mahaney and Johnson were not open. They'll bring going back for an outlet if they need it on that inbound.
Into Mahaney, he dribbles and then gets hacked over there by Dalkey. So that's the 17th foul. And now we have a 1-on-1 coming for Mahaney on the other end. And 1 free throw is going to end it. 2 seconds to go. Mary's field goal came. Saxon with 10:20 to go in regulation to make it 60-40. This is a 1-on-1 here. Mahaney misses, and they've got a chance now to send it to overtime. It's up, and it almost went in. Neil Benawal. That would have really given us the ending we could have never expected. That would have sent it into